Hey, friends, happy Monday. If you are listening on the day that this is being released, it's February 23rd. If you are listening at any other point, this is still for you. One thing that I love about diving into the astrology of what's going on, or just something really practical, is it's not time bound. A lot of what we do has roots in a specific time period, but the energies are frequently at play long after the episode is released. We are going to be talking about Pisces and Mercury Retrograde today. Pisces season started last week on the 18th of February. And I think this is such a cool sign. I don't have a lot of strong Pisces placements in my chart, but the more that I kind of reflect on Pisces and its role in our lives and its role in the astrology charts, the more that I find it to just be a really beautiful, a powerful, and a sign that I think we all can learn from. One thing that I have found interesting is I've had a number of people over the past couple of years come to me and say, I'm so screwed with my charts. And not always, but often they have strong Pisces placements. And I was reflecting on that this week and thinking about why is it that people with these strong placements feel like they're screwed? And I think part of that is we live in a culture that really has for a long time valued very binary thinking, it's this or that. It's one or the other. It can't be both. And Pisces is a sign that really blurs boundaries. It is not a binary sign. It's not a one or another sign. And even the symbol of it is two fish swimming in the water, and they're really going with the flow of life. There's not a hard and fast boundary to what they're doing. So I think that Pisces is a sign that asks us to kind of buck our traditions a little bit, just like Aquarius does, but in different ways. Some of the energies that are associated with Pisces, I already mentioned one, going with the flow. Emotion, it is a water energy. It's very intuitive. It's very mystical. It's very ethereal. It's a very abstract energy. It's not one that we can easily go, okay, I can wrap my head around this or wrap my hands around this. It's kind of an out there energy. It is the final sign of the zodiac. So even as we are beginning things this month, we had the Lunar New Year, we had the beginning of the Neptune and Saturn conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. We're also still ending things. And this is something that's so cool with the zodiac is that there's just constantly cycles going, whether it's the planets, the luminaries, whatever's happening, there's always various cycles going. And we typically do begin and end similarly. But this month, especially, we're holding this both and tension. We're beginning some things and we're ending some things. And I think that's going to be really important for you as you think about the energies of the coming weeks. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit more about Pisces. Okay, Pisces being the water energy, it is very compassionate. It's very empathetic. It can reflect back to others the best parts of themselves. This is something that's just like general nature to folks with strong Pisces energy. And even if you don't have, let's say, your sun, moon, or rising sign in Pisces, if you don't have any planets in Pisces, no problem. You still have Pisces in your chart. So you can look at your chart and go, which house is Pisces in? Because that house probably is flavored by these Pisces themes. For me, it's my sixth house. Our sixth house is all about our day-to-day habits, our structures, kind of how we go about day-to-day making money, health decisions. Those are all associated with the sixth house. Well, Pisces is not a sign that's going to lend a lot of consistency to my day-to-day habits. And that's something I've had to just accept. And not just accept, but really explore and play with. What does it mean to have this very free-flowing, non-boundaried, non-binary energy in a house that we traditionally think about as wanting consistency, as wanting the same thing every day, as wanting to do things, according to a set of rules. That's not what Pisces does. So look at your chart and see where you have Pisces. Even if there's nothing else in that house in your chart, that area of your life is going to be flavored by Pisces. One of the shadows of Pisces, with it being so fluid, is that we do struggle with things like consistency and boundaries. So this could be that you have your sun, moon, or rising sign in Pisces, and there's a sense of like that struggle with consistency and boundaries. It could just be that area of your life, as it is for me in my sixth house. But knowing that it's just not a part of your life that's going to benefit from trying to force boundaries is really important. Also, knowing that you, especially in that area of your life, need to be able to just go with the flow. You need to be able to tap into your own intuition, into your own feelings, into your own knowing in order to move forward. That's something I have really begun to spend a lot more time with is in my day-to-day habits. I'm spending time really intentionally tapping in and going, okay, for today, what is it that I want? I know that there are certain things I need, right? I need to show up for work. I need to exercise and move my body. I need to take care of my health. But what that looks like from one day to another is going to change. There's going to be more of a flow and less consistency there. But I'm also working within a world that needs consistency. So I can't be like, oh, I don't feel like going to work today. I'm not going to show up at work. I still got to show up at work. I still have to do the things that I need to do. So knowing that that can be a struggle, but then knowing how to work with that is something that you're going to want to explore during this Pisces season. Also knowing that other people, especially if you have your sun, moon, or rising in Pisces, you are going to be more comfortable going with the flow generally than other people are. Not everybody is as comfortable with Pisces nature of, even like not even just the going with the flow, the mystical side of it, the ethereal side of it, you're probably more in tune with than other people are. And that is a superpower of yours. I want you to practice tapping more into that and knowing that you still may need to bridge the gap a little bit for people because not everyone, like I said, is as comfortable with that as you are. Okay, so Pisces season, let's talk about this and like what is coming for us. We just had this kind of massive jolt forward of energy with the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. We had a jolting energy with the eclipse last week. And now we go into Pisces. And when I think about Pisces, I think about the Great Lakes. There are some boundaries to the water, but for the most part, it is just an expanse of water. And it is going to be influenced by what's going on around it. If we're in a stormy, energetic season, the waters are going to feel more rough and stormy. And that's how I think we're going to be feeling when this comes out. I think that this is a Pisces season that feels a little bit rougher, that feels a little bit more stormy. And we have to figure out, how do we navigate the stormy waters? How do we navigate what's going on around us? And we have coming up on the 25th, on Wednesday, the 25th. So just a couple days after this comes out, Mercury is going to station retrograde. That's the astrological term for it's going to look like it's going backwards in the sky. And it's not actually going backwards. It just looks that way based on where we are and where it is in our respective cycles. When Mercury stations retrograde, that is a time that we are asked to slow down. We are given the opportunity to slow down. And it's doing its retrograde in Pisces this time. And it's going to be in Pisces the whole time. So this is kind of a double whammy for Pisces season. If we're going in, I do think it's going to be stormy weather. And then we have Mercury stationing retrograde going, you really need to slow down. This is not a time for pushing forward against the energy around you. This is a time for reviewing your communication. Mercury is all about communication. People talk a lot about don't sign contracts, or if you do sign contracts while Mercury is retrograde, do it with a lot of extra eyes on it. There's times where we're going to be more supported energetically for starting new things, for signing new contracts. It doesn't mean that you can't do it during this cycle. It just means you need to be aware that the energy around you is one that it's a little bit mischievous. It's a little bit of a trickster energy between that and the eclipses that we have going on. I love this for us because while we all around us may have stormy things going on, we are being invited to find some peace and sanctuary and tranquility within ourselves. And it's something that we've seen this kind of back and forth all year so far. And it's not going to be the case for the rest of the year necessarily, but the beginning of this year has been very much, yes, there is forward momentum that's out there that you can be making towards your goals, towards whatever you're doing. And there's a need to do so from a space of being really solid and set within yourself. And so this is kind of that, I think, pinnacle point of going, hey, what are you doing this year? What do you want to do? What changes do you want to make? Where do you want to push forward? The universe has been asking us to get ultra clear on who we are, on what our values are, on being able to know and hear and learn and trust our intuition, because going forward, we are going to desperately need those things. We're not going to be able to go forward into the coming years without those. Not in a way that feels good by any means. So this is kind of that pinnacle time period between February 25th and March 20th, when Mercury retrograde ends, of dig deep within yourself. Go deeper than you ever have. Do more journaling, pull more oracle cards, do more collaging, more painting, more dancing, whatever it is that taps you into yourself, into your guides, into the universe or the divine or spirit. This is the time for that. That is very Pisces energy. That is, and again, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces. On March 20th, Mercury will station direct and Aries season will begin. The astrological new year begins on both days. And this, I really think, and looking at the days and the timing and the degrees at which various things are happening this year, I feel like the universe is just so loud and clear going, hey, we are about to start something new. Get ready, get your foundation set, get your house in order, whatever that is for you, because in March, that's where we really start our forward momentum. This time period between now and then, do what you need to get really deeply in tune with yourself and with spirit. If I could give you anything for this next month, that's what it is. What is it that you need to set that strong foundation going forward? What is it that you need to ensure that any of the layers that you have been shedding over the past year, right? We just ended the year of the snake. I think that this imagery is so helpful and I'm really thankful for it. Anything that you've been shedding, if you're still holding on to it, if it's still holding on to you, now is the time to cut those cords, release those ties, let it fully release from you. And Pisces is really beautiful energy to support that because it is washing things away. It is purifying. It is a water energy. And so I want you to tap into the power of water as well. Okay, let me give you a little example from my own life. I have been working with my own sun, moon, and rising sign for years now. This is something that I'm continuing to uncover new layers of. And even this past week, I made a decision at work where I kind of had this internal knowing that, hey, before you go forward with this, you need to check in and make sure you've got all the perspectives on it. But I was also up against a time crunch. I was up against a compliance issue. And I made the decision to go forward with the time crunch and the compliance leading the way. And as somebody whose moon is in Capricorn, that felt safe, right? I love rules. I love structure. And so that felt very safe to do. That's the decision that I made. I then was able to get the other person's perspective. And in that, I realized I had made a mistake. I realized that the decision that I made was not necessarily the wrong decision, but as and I didn't realize this immediately. And it has taken me this time to process, to reflect, to journal, to go, what I think I'm not happy with in how I handled this is one, I didn't listen to that internal knowing. I knew I needed to get that perspective. But because of the time crunch and because of the compliance side of it, I went with what was safe. Two, I only honored one piece of me. Yes, my moon sign wants to keep me safe. And it does that through structure, through rules, through discipline, through intentionality. And my sun sign is Aquarius. My rising sign is Libra. My superpowers are being able to bridge gaps. My superpowers are being able to think outside the box and find something that works well for everybody. And I did not tap into either of those in the decision that I made. And so now thinking about this in the broader context of what's going on, it was a really uncomfortable but needed wake up call that as I go into the coming year, I have to make sure that my foundation is fully set, that I'm not only leaning on what keeps me safe, the rules and the compliance side of my job in HR, but that I'm also continuing to tap into my superpowers, bridging the gaps between people and policy, thinking outside the box, envisioning a future that's better for everybody. Those are my superpowers. Yours are different. Those are mine. We are going to be wanting to stay safe, and we can. We can tap into our moon sign to keep us safe. And if that's all we do, if we're only leaning into one of our energies, we're going to be off balance. And so this is that time to review those things. This is that time to go, what is it that going into March 20th and beyond, the astrological new year and beyond, the Aries season and beyond, what is it that's going to allow me to do that? Tapping into my internal knowing, tapping into not only what keeps me safe, but how I'm meant to shine, what unique gifts I bring to the world through my sun and my rising sign. You can, if you haven't yet, I'm sure many of you have, but the guide that I have on the website at mosttrueyou.com/guide gives a really condensed overview of each of the signs. This will help you even if you're just thinking about Pisces in your own chart. Go read the page about Pisces. Read the pages that have to do with your sun, moon, and rising sign. Read the transformation tips that talk about, a little bit of the shadow side of each sign. Spend more time getting to know yourself, uncovering those layers. This is something that we never stop growing in. Right? Like I said, I've been working with my sun, moon, and rising sign for years now. I guide others in going deeper with theirs, and I am still very much learning on a day-to-day basis what they mean and how to live in alignment with my signs and my energy. We can do readings together. Those are available on the website as well. Sign up for those. You can email me with questions. But going into these next few weeks, please slow down. Yes, the waters are stormy. Yes, it can be a little bit scary. And you are being given the invitation to really dig into yourself, to dig into who you are at your core, your intuition, your intention, so that going into the remainder of the year, you do that from a solid foundation. Many blessings to you, my friends. Many blessings for Pisces season, for Mercury retrograde, for the weeks ahead. Sending you so much love.